Hello ladies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sammy George and I'm an independent makeup artist with Seint Beauty, and we are back to our brush series. This is gonna be brush number 2, the shape brush. And I've already used it on half my face because sometimes when we are doing the smallest amount of makeup, that's what this guy is for. The lovers of the skin-like finish, the your skin but better look, sometimes it seems so minimal, but it really is so significant. So if you have the shape brush and you're just not sure how to use it, or you love a less is more makeup routine, stick around, this video is for you. As always, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a thing, and thanks for being here. So in our first brush video, we did the blush and bronzer brush, and I wanna show you. This is like a ride or die for me for all of the new folks because it's dense enough to get a light to medium coverage, but it's not so dense that you pick up too much product, which is typically the #1 thing that people struggle with. The shape brush is less dense than that one. So this is truly going to give you a light-handed, skin-like finish. I do love that it has 2 sides. As always, we're gonna talk about the pros and the cons of the brush and some other things that you could incorporate if you really wanted to utilize like different brushes within the system, and then I'll show you how to do it with one. But I like that this has 2 ends because this can work into some of the smaller ends. I like the density of this for applying pretty much everything. You can strategically like maneuver the bristles to do your contour and all of the things. If you like more than a light-handed application, then this one is not for you. But this brush can be super fast and very effective, even with skin discoloration, as long as you're using your colors, like we always teach, in the right order to get coverage. So let's jump in. As always, I'm gonna start with my color corrector. Color corrector for me is what takes care of anything that I would wanna camouflage. Think of it like a camouflage color. And because I wanna be a little bit more strategic than this brush is going to allow, I'm gonna use my finger. And I'm tapping in the lightest amount. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to tap it in to the areas that I would want to camouflage. That darkness under my eye, this little acne spot right here, some of this acne scarring. And I'm being as like pinpoint as possible because I only color correct or use my camouflage color where it's needed. And it's only needed where I have like that excess color, like something that I wanna hide a little bit. So it's that dark under eye, a little bit on that scar on the side of my nose. I did the acne scarring, a little bit of redness on my chin. Now I'm gonna do just a little bit of this rosacea right here. If you had a larger area that you wanted to cover, you could absolutely, very lightly, less is more, tap into there and just do these very feather-like, it's almost like a butterfly, just circular motion here. And I'm just doing that where I have the rosacea and the redness. Other than that, I have no color concerns on my forehead. I'm good right here. I'm good right here, other than where I already color corrected. So we're gonna move on. We are going straight to our main shade. We're gonna use the big end of the shape brush and we are gonna tap. Don't swipe in, you'll get chunks on there. We just wanna tap this. You see how this taps right onto the top of the bristles, which is why you can go from color to color very seamlessly. If you have excess product left on the brush afterwards, you've used too much to begin with. You can even go more light-handed. But do you see the finish that we're already starting to get? So I am now just pressing this anywhere that I would want coverage. And with cream makeup, if it blends, it extends. So just that little bit of makeup on the top of the bristles, and I'm covering like 1/3 of my face. Now remember, we're only gonna get a light-handed finish because we're using a very dense brush. The opposite of that, because this brush is not dense. The more dense the brush, the heavier the finish. So now I'm gonna go tap, tap, tap a little bit more just on the tippy top, and I'm gonna move up to here where I color corrected. When you color correct, it is a combination of your color corrector and your main highlight shade on top of each other that are going to give you the finish that you're looking for. That color corrector targets the discoloration, and your main shade, yes, it gives you more coverage, but it brings you back to matching your neck or whatever it is that you tell me that you want to match when you get color matched. Now I'm going to the center of the forehead, just adding a little light-handed makeup there. And let's see, maybe tap a little bit more on here, tone that down a little bit more. Now, time for my finger. gonna tap in, and I'm gonna press this on, the smallest amount, onto that bag that I covered with my color corrector. And while this is going to be a very light hand of makeup, like it's just my skin with a little bit of glow and a little bit of coverage, it is gonna give you coverage. Because I color corrected, because this makeup can be worn in the smallest amounts and still give you coverage if you have the right color, you do not need a lot to get an amazing finish. Now, what else do we have here? I think we're good. Basic light hand of makeup, light coverage, done. Now I'm gonna go into my contour. I color corrected, main shade, contour. Because we wanna be a little bit more strategic with our contour. I don't necessarily want it to be as wide as this whole brush. I'm going to pinch my bristles together, tap, 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 and get it on there. And go back up to that top part of the cheekbone, ear, follow, here's my cheekbone, follow it to the outer corner of the eye. Press, press, press. Remember, I don't want it to be super wide, so I'm not using the whole thing. I'm squeezing it together, and I'm not going like this. This is gonna muddy the face, and it's actually gonna blend it out so much that you only just kind of have this ashy look pulling your face down. So keep those bristles together, and now that it's on, go ahead and flick up. That'll help diffuse that line, and you will have, again, this is a light-handed finish, you'll have a light-handed contour. Now I'm grabbing my contour brush again, squeezing it together, and I'm gonna frame out the forehead. Meeting it where I already did it over here, and I'm gonna push it up into the hairline so that we don't have any harsh lines. I don't want my contour line to be seen. I kind of just want it to fade up into the hairline, and now I'm just gonna tap that edge to diffuse it. Darkness is gonna cause our faces to recede. That's the beauty of three-dimensional foundation. We can sculpt our cheekbones and our jawline with a little bit of contour, add brightness to the center of the face, and then somebody else's eyes are drawn right to the center of your face with the least amount of makeup. We're just playing the game of light and dark. I'm putting a little bit of my contour underneath my jawline, helping sculpt the jawline, mask jowls, and I'm pulling it down so that everything matches really well. And that's our contour. I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna tap the side of it to do our brightener. Brightener is essentially what you're used to calling a concealer. And if you have mature skin like I do, go closer to the nose, bring it out here, then going directly into the corner of the eye. Out here on the corner. And now I'm gonna use what's left on the brush to really marry all of that together. This is gonna give me the brightness under the eye without a lot of excess product sitting on my fine lines and wrinkles. And then you can assess, is there anywhere that I want a little bit more brightness? And with a light-handed finish, I'm pretty good there. I'm gonna go up here in the T-zone. You know what? Something that I didn't show you, the nose contour. I do not find this brush to be nose contour friendly. It's definitely a little bit more challenging. So if you only have that brush, grab your middle finger, tap, go in between your brows, and now just lightly drag that down the center of the nose, and then you can kind of flick up into your eyebrows so that it's really seamless. And we want to stay on the top of the bridge of our nose if we want to slim the nose. If you want your nose to look wider, then you can go on the outside of the bridge of the nose. But I already have a wide nose. Do you guys hear the train coming through? It always works out that way. It's like Sammy's filming for YouTube. Cue the train. And now I'm just putting a little bit under to slim and really pop that out. So half of a nose contour is the contour lines. The other half is the brightener. So that's why I tap, hug that nose contour line, and this will help with that slimming effect. Now grab a little bit, make sure I don't have any contour left on my finger, and drag it down the center of the contour strips. And we will use our Perfector to really diffuse all this out. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit on the Cupid's bow and the chin. If at this point you want your face to be a little bit lighter, if you feel like it's dark for your neck, you can do one of two things. You can add bronzer to your neck, Or you can always add your brightening shade to your jawline. I'm okay, but I'm just gonna show you. Adding just a little bit of this brightening shade to your jawline will still allow you to have such a light hand of makeup, but it'll lighten this up a little bit. And if there is a lot of a divide between your face and your neck, you'll kind of bridge that gap a little bit. Before we move on to bronzer and lip and cheek, a little bit of illuminator, and we're done. How fast is that? Let's be sure to grab our Perfector to remove excess and marry all these lines together. So far, the only tools we've used are the shape brush, our finger, and now we're gonna incorporate the Perfector. The Perfector is meant to be used damp and cool. So run it under cold water and then wring it out as much as you possibly can. You do still want it to be damp though. Once it's dry, it's not effective, but if it's soaking wet, it's just gonna pull the makeup off. And the Perfector is your catch-all. One, it gives you even more of a flawless finish than just the makeup alone. Like I literally had a woman tell me, she was like, I felt like it was like Photoshop for my face. I was like, I know, right? So it helps marry everything together. Any lines that are too harsh, by tapping on this, you can help blend them together. That's why cream makeup is so magical. It's not one of those products where you put it on the face and you have to work with it really fast or it dries down and then there's nothing you can do. It is forever gonna be emollient, so it can always be tweaked. You can, take a day look from a night look, day look to a night look without even washing your face and starting over. You can simply go back in and touch up. But also, you use this Perfector to diffuse, like see how our nose contour line is now diffused, but also to remove any excess from areas where we have a lot of texture. And for me, as I start to get more mature skin, I have a significant amount of texture under my eyes, very deep marionette lines, and then a lot going on here. I got the 11s in between the eyes, all the things. So this takes care of removing any excess so nothing is sitting in those fine lines and wrinkles. We're gonna finish this up. I have to add some glow. So I'm going into the big end of my shape brush and I am swirling my Bella bronzer and my glow illuminator, my favorite glow combo. And now I'm adding it to the areas where my skin would naturally kind of get a sunburn, where the color would be the most intense. And it's basically just in this C shape here. You can go a little bit across your nose, across your chin, and now you can go down the neck to add a little bit of color there. If your neck feels really white, or again, if your face is dark, but your neck is light, a little bit of bronzer, and you've taken care of that. So now we've added that warmth to our skin. We still have a beautiful skin-like finish. We took care of the majority of that saturation of color, but this is our less is more minimal makeup girl routine. We are gonna finish it with some lip and cheek, and this is sandstone. Sandstone is highly pigmented. You'll see just a little bit on the brush is gonna go a long way. It's one of my favorites for a natural look. It kind of has, this is sandstone, it kind of has that like terracotta, like brick color feeling, Do you know what I mean? So, word to the wise, you do get a lot of pigment, so start with less is more, and then you can always build up if you want. If you're worried you have too much on the brush, swirl it on your hand, and remember, your Seint lip and cheek is going to die down in the first 5 or 10 minutes. So don't worry about blending it exactly like from the minute you put it on, because it's gonna start to diffuse as it warms up on the skin. So I'm gonna let that sit for a minute, and then we'll make sure that we have like matching going on here before we're done. And I'm gonna grab my finger, add a little bit to the lips. You could grab the multitasker and you could contour the lip or add a lip liner of either like our suede lip liner or your contour, or you can just come on in with your finger, and there you go. I'm gonna go into my illuminator now. I'm gonna pop a little bit on the center, just to help create that pout on the Cupid's bow. Pop that lip out a little bit. And I'm gonna even go down the nose contour a little bit. Right down the center here, and then on the tip to give your nose that upturned look. The last place I'm gonna put it is in my lip and cheek area. I'm just gonna see, are we pretty even? I think so. If you ever wanna diffuse that a little bit, you can either grab your Perfector, don't pull it all off because it is a sheer product, okay? Blush, bronzer, illuminator, all sheer. You wanna use your Perfector before that or it will pull it off. Your other option is to go back to your brush. We're using the shape brush. Make sure you don't have any lip and cheek left on it. I just had the smallest amount. And I'm gonna tap one time into my main highlight shade and tap it on there to just diffuse it the smallest amount. Now I'm gonna go in with my Perfector into my illuminator. I'm gonna swipe a little bit in there. It's the only time you'll ever hear me saying you can swipe, because any other time you swipe, you just end up with too much. And I'm gonna hit that highest point of the cheekbone for just that added illumination. Give myself a little bit of glow. In traditional makeup world, it's called a highlighter, but since our highlights are called highlights, we call it an illuminator. I think I like illuminator better. Anyways, it really illuminates the skin, right? And that's it, you guys. That is how you can use the shape brush with your finger in the Perfector to get an entire full face of makeup on. It will give you a flawless skin-like finish. This is the less is more look. We used our finger for our color corrector and the areas around our eyes. We used the large end for our main highlight shade, our contour, our blush, our bronzer. We used the small end and our finger for our brightener, and then we used our Perfector sponge for our illuminator. So as always, you always wanna have the Perfector on hand. No matter what type of finish you're doing, it is like your safety net. But hopefully in this series, you're seeing like, okay, on the daily, I wanna do a really light hand of makeup. What brush would I use? On the weekend, I like to go a little bit more medium to full coverage, because here's the thing, you use the same products. The easiest way to get a different finish is to get a different brush. The density of the bristles is what makes all the difference in the finish of the makeup. So in this series, I want you to see, yes, how you can use one brush to do your full face, but how you can really utilize the brushes to get the finish that you're looking for while never having to change your makeup routine or the products that you're doing. You don't have to go out and buy anything else to go from like the everyday minimal mom makeup to like the gala glam. You can do it all out of your one palette, and I will color match you so you know what shades you need. Like literally, we will take the guesswork out of all of it. So if I can be helpful to you and you want to color match, just comment color match down in the comments. I'll be sure to put it in the description, and I'll also drop last week's, or a video from 2 weeks ago, I should say, on how to use the blush and bronzer brush so that you can check that one out too, so you can start to pick out your favorite brushes for your Seint collection. And that's it, you guys. As always, I appreciate you so much for being here, and we'll see you next week.